What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of 94 Feet, where KP and Tim go into everything hoops. And we have a good show today. We have the NBA schedule released, so we're going to go through that today. But before we get into that, we're going to implement a question of the day. So put your answers down in the comments. And here we go. The question of the day is, who gets the 8th seed in both the Western and Eastern conferences in the NBA return? Put those comments down there because we're about to go into it right now. So, NBA schedule analysis. We're going to go through what's going on. We have all the schedules out, but we're going to be mostly focusing in on the teams that were on that bubble. Who cares about the Lakers and the Clippers schedule right now? They're going to make the playoffs. It's where we at with the 8th and 9th seed. So we'll go ahead and focus in on the West first. So out of the 6 teams that have a chance to get that 8th seed in the West, what's your thought process after looking at the schedule?
I mean, I just point this out early, and as awesome as I was right, the Pelicans have the easiest road. I mean, the way the schedule works out for them, they're playing some pretty good teams at first, and then it kind of rolls their way. So I like them a lot to make the playoffs. I think that's what the NBA wants. I think that's what, the populace wants. I mean, he was just named a 2K cover athlete, so that's a big deal, especially in your rookie year. Wow. What a testament to him and his ability and all that. So obviously a fan favorite. And then in the Eastern Conference, I guess we'll go. Or do you want to stay in the West? We can stay.
No, we're gonna stay in the West for a little bit, and then we'll switch over to the East.
How do you feel?
All right, so the Pelicans definitely have a great chance at minimum the 9th seed at this point. So I do have it between, will the Trailblazers or the Grizzlies keep that 8th or 9th seed to make it competitive with the Pelicans? Because also, as you said, the Pelicans have the easiest schedule on the board. And what's also interesting, because already the Trailblazers have a game on the Pelicans, but they're still 3 games behind the Grizzlies. And they play game 1.
Right.
It's Trailblazers versus Grizzlies right off the bat. And
huge game.
This is a must-win for the Trailblazers right off the bat, because they already have an extremely tough schedule where they have the 5th hardest schedule in the league for the restart. And they have 3 games behind the Grizzlies. So if they lose the Grizzlies, they're already losing a tiebreaker there, and they're going to be now 4 games behind with the Pelicans having the easiest schedule. And so that's already a must-win right out of the gate.
And regardless of what these teams will tell you, I don't want to see the Pelicans in a play-in situation, even if I have the 1-game advantage. I think they're that kind of team, and if they can get rolling, they can put on a show and they can put a lot of points up. So, just saying. It's out there.
If you're the Grizzlies, you want to try to get to a 5-game lead over the Pelicans. I Absolutely. 100% agree.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be tough. So the Grizzlies let's see here. The Grizzlies have the 6th hardest schedule going in, and the Trailblazers have the 5th, and they play the game 1. And what's even worse for the Trailblazers is they've only beaten 2 out of the 8 teams they have on the remaining schedule. The Grizzlies have beaten 4 out of 8 already before the shutdowns. So you're already it's not looking good for the Trailblazers right now. And it's going to be a very tough out for them to even make the 9th seed, I think. And then the only other team I think that has a legitimate shot at the 9th seed, honestly, is the Kings. Because the Kings have the 20th out of 22 easiest schedule going into it. And they're already tied with the Pelicans. So they're right there with the Pelicans. And they also play the Pelicans twice, which are extremely important. Like, splitting those games is a must. And I would even say it's not an option to split. You have to win both of those. Because the remaining schedule for the Pelicans is not very difficult. So they're probably going to win 3 out of 6 in their other games. And if you don't win those two against the Pelicans, how many wins are you getting outside of that? It's going to be a tough out. So, but the Kings do have an interesting chance because they have the 20th easiest schedule.
Correct. I agree with you. Just looking at some of these other teams, the Grizzlies, how you were saying, they'd beaten 4 out of their 8 opponents, right? But they haven't played the Raptors yet. I don't think they beat the Raptors, regardless of what team the Raptors brings down there. The Thunder have been playing really well. At least they were before COVID hit and everything. I don't know how they're doing so hot in the playoffs. I don't know anything about basketball apparently because I wrote them off the entire year. Even when they were winning some games, I was like, you know what? Who cares, the Thunder? And then you look at the standings, and they're right there.
Yeah, it's a close get from 2 to 7. I think it's a 4-game difference from 2 to 7 anywhere. But
right, that's like the Western Conference is as good as it ever has been, and that's insane. But you look at their schedule: Trailblazers, Pelicans, Jazz, all that. The games that they're going to lose, I don't think they're going to be in those games. So they're like teetering games, like you were talking about with the Trailblazers against the Pelicans head-to-head. They got to win those if they want to make the game. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Trailblazers, looking at their schedule, 76ers and Nets. I think the Nets will be an easier game, especially with who they have sitting out. We'll talk about that later. And they're also in a position where they got to win the one against the Grizzlies. Same kind of deal. The Clippers are going to play the Clippers. That's going to be a tough game for them. The Clippers are bringing pretty much everybody, and they're defensively solid, offensively solid, obviously, as we've seen. Kings, I agree with you. I think that they're also the last team to make it in if there is a team that has a chance. I don't see Spurs, Suns making it. I mean, they're
so what I will say about the Spurs is the Spurs, they play team ball. First of all, they have 7 guys in double-digit scoring this year. They also have a good duo still. They're aging, but they have DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, so they still have a solid duo at the top. But they obviously extremely well coached with Pop, and they've also beaten 7 out of the 8 teams that they play against going into the seeding games. Now they haven't. They haven't swept really any of them. They only swept the Jazz, but they have a win on the board against all of their opponents going into the last 8 games. But what's tough is that they have so many people above them with easier schedules at that. So to get to because they'll have to get to the 9th seed to have a chance for that play-in series, and that's going to be extremely tough. 7 out of 8 is probably the minimum that they'll need to get there, which is too much of a stretch. Why did the league just hates the Suns? Okay, they have the 5th hardest schedule.
Yep.
They have they have no shot. They're 6 games behind. Basically the league just said, just enjoy your games and we'll see you next season. Okay, they only brought him in to make the teams even at this point. They wanted 22. They didn't want 21. They wanted 22 teams. And this is crazy.
The NBA does this, and they've done this kind of a pattern, but they love scoring. And the reason they love scoring is because it sells. It sells tickets. Yeah. Devin Booker is a scorer. He's flat out. He's a baller. He loves to shoot, loves to put a lot of points. I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, he put up 70 in his of the year. They're basically just force feeding the ball. That big game had so many that had the highest ratings of a Suns game in however many. It was nuts. But I think that you're right. They're going to make it tough for them. They're going to make them have to score a lot of points to stay in it, or play with a lot of these teams. And hopefully they can do it. But as you said, they have a rough go.
There's just no way. There's just no way. Even if they, I will do this. Even if
no
they,
way, but good luck.
Oh, I'm saying there's no way. Because even if they win all 8, okay, they sweep it 8-0. That only puts them 2 games ahead of the Grizzlies, as where the Grizzlies sit now.
Right.
That does put them 5 games ahead of the Trailblazers, but that also puts them 6 games ahead of the Pelicans. Pelicans have the easiest schedule. I think they could easily win 5 games. So they have to win all 8. And they have a chance if they win all 8. But even then, they have a small chance if they win all 8.
I'm giving it to them, though.
That's why they're here, is because technically they're not mathematically out, But
right, but
this is ridiculous. They don't have a chance. It's really
the
just to
Western
have we
Conference
just
forgot,
yeah.
so,
It's so
literally.
bad. It's so bad. They should have made it 12 teams from the West. Like okay,
If
cool.
they move over to the East side though, if they would have done the original bracket, they would have had an exciting time, I think. Where they invite they don't do the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, just have the seeds. That would have been a situation where the Suns could have excelled, but
Then
different
they would be
times,
fighting for the 16th seed,
which
and
would be Eastern Conference, right? And no
right,
one would talk about it.
and no one would talk about it. Yeah, it could have been interesting. Oh, we could get into it for a second. It could have been interesting to have 22 teams. Okay.
Yep.
Then after you do the 8 seeding games, you have everybody seeded. You knock off the last 2. The bottom 8 play a play-in game, like, or maybe a small play-in series, like a best 2 out of 3, to then get into the
Okay.
normal 16 game or 16 team bracket, and then you fill out the bracket without East and West, and you go from there.
I mean, honestly, I was excited with any of those like situations. I like I said, I did agree with Jordan and say like we don't need to be, but like some of the different scenarios were kind of cool and they're interesting and
It would have been very interesting. But all right,
but we'll see.
so basically, I'm pretty sure I heard you say this earlier. You have the Pelicans making the 8th seed.
Correct. Yes.
And if the Pelicans were to get in, they're going to have to win the play-in series because they're not going to be 4 games ahead of everybody because the Grizzlies already have a 3-game lead on them. No, 4-game lead on them. So
Right.
they're not going to. So who do you have as their play-in series then? And do they make the 8th seed or do they just take it from them as the 9th seed?
So I see this happening one of two ways, and you can say what you want about how I'm going to phrase this, but
Okay.
I have them surpassing the Grizzlies. I have the Trailblazers moving up. The Grizzlies are in 9, Pelicans 8, Trailblazers 7.
No. You were close with somewhat,
Playoff.
but you have you said you have the Trailblazers at 8, Pelicans at 9, and Grizzlies at 10. Is what you meant.
Okay. Yes. Correct. Sorry, I just got my number. Yeah, you're okay. So,
All right.
in that case, then I have the Pelicans beating the Blazers in their series to get the last spot.
But you right now have the Pelicans in that scenario as the 9th seed.
Right, and they would have to.
So they would have to beat them twice.
Correct.
That would
And I
be
think they'll
exciting.
do it.
I don't see that
But
at all. I disagree.
Here's why I'm thinking this, and I'm trying to give some credit to Portland has that playoff experience, and we talked about this last week. But the Grizzlies and the Pelicans have very little. I actually looked at the Pelicans roster. They have J.J. Redick and Drew Holiday. I know J.J. Redick's been in the playoffs multiple times with a couple different teams. But honestly, Damian Lillard, man, playoff time's different. We talked about last time. He's been training hard. I like him a lot. And then my other scenario is, the Trailblazers for whatever reason don't have it this year. Maybe because they don't have players coming in, or maybe whatever it is, or people aren't bought in as well, because it's not the regular playoffs. And they flop. They have an off year. The Pelicans take the 8th seed. They're outright from them, or and everybody stays where they're at.
So I disagree. I think right now I have it being the Pelicans versus Memphis
Okay, in the play-in series.
in the play-in series. I don't think the Trailblazers make it. I think their schedule is just too tough to get them the 5th hardest schedule. And looking at them, they've already lost to the Grizzlies once in February. Celtics are tough with Kemba.
Okay.
And they're extremely well coached with Brad Stevens. Rockets, they've lost
I agree
to
with
them. They did beat the Rockets twice, but I don't see that them beating the Rockets for a 3rd time. I think the Rockets even that up 2-2. Nuggets, they've lost.
Is it the playoff? It's the playoffs, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Rockets show up in a playoff series in a long time.
Okay, hold on. We're not talking about playoffs yet. This is technically still regular season.
Playoffs.
Yeah, we're still talking regular season. Okay, I think the Rockets even that up 2-2.
All
The
right, go ahead.
Nuggets, they've lost 3 in a row, which it's tough to beat a team 4 times in a row in a season. So I actually could see that the Blazers beating the Nuggets in a tough game. Not, I think the Nuggets are better, clearly, but I think that they could potentially get that. But there's also the wait times, and so the Nuggets could be in. That's going to be tough, but I can see them winning. I don't see them beating the Clippers unless Kawhi decides they're going to sit, which is possible. 76ers are going to be tough. They could. It's going to be tough with the Mavericks, too. They could even that series. And now the only saving grace is that they do play the Nets, and the Nets, as we'll talk about later, are in disarray. So they could get one win at the end, but I only see them maybe only winning 3 games.
Tim. Do you wear a watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I got a watch on it. It's
I
Dame
don't.
time.
I don't.
Do you understand?
I
Okay.
don't.
It's
I
time.
don't.
It's time.
I don't.
It's
I don't
time to go. Okay. It's playoff time. He's lighting it up. I don't care what their schedule looks like. Give him the hardest. Give him the number 1 hardest schedule. I don't care.
Fair enough. I don't see. I think Ja Morant is going to take the Grizzlies to a playoff, to a play-in series, and then Zion and the Pelicans take it. I do agree that the Pelicans should be the 8th seed by the end of it after the play-in series. So I agree with you there, but I don't think that Portland makes the play-in series.
Crazy. All right.
But it'll all be decided in game 1 because it'll be the Grizzlies versus the Trailblazers. All right. Well, that was fun for the West. Now we're moving on to the East. So the East is all about what the Wizards can do. Okay, the Wizards start 5.5 games behind the Magic and 6 games behind the Nets. Do you see any path for them to gain 2 games on either of these 2 teams to make a play-in series possible?
I do, and I think it has to do with the Nets more than the Magic, and we'll get into this a little bit more. They're just going to be missing too many pieces, whether to COVID or social justice or anything. They also have a tougher schedule playing the Bucks twice, and Celtics and Clippers. I mean, that's going to be a tough schedule, even if they were fully healthy. Obviously, without KD. But even if they were fully healthy and with KD, I mean, they could probably sweep this whole thing. They are going to play, you know, the Wizards and they don't play the Magic. Okay, they do play the Magic. Sorry, they do play both these teams. So obviously for those teams, the Magic and the Wizards, they have to beat the Nets. Otherwise, it's not going to be looking good for them either. But I do think there is a way for the Nets to be knocked out. Or at least put in a situation like we said earlier where they're the 9th seed or 8th seed and they're playing because it's too close in the standings.
Right. Yes. So the way the Wizards can do this is the Wizards have beaten 5 out of the 8 teams that they will be playing against, and they have not played the Pelicans yet. That's going to be a tough game.
Agreed.
So they do have the Nets, as you said, so that could already be 1 game on the Nets because they play the Nets the second game, and that could be huge. Now they only have to catch up 1 game on the Nets, and they've beaten 4 others out of them, out of the 8 or out of the 7 remaining. Then, with the Nets being such a disaster, they do have a chance. But I am going to say, which is sad because I'm a Wizards fan, I'm going to predict they do not get within this 4 games. Beltrans? Is that how you say his name? Crap. I'm a Wizards fan. Bertans. God, Jesus. I got it all confused. It just went out of my head. Yeah. Anyway, Bertans is already said that he's out. He's not going to play. Yep. And he's had some big games this year, including games against these teams that have put them in winning position with like 25-point games or 22-point games. So that being him being gone, Bradley Beal is gonna have to do it all himself. I do like Bradley Beal, but he is not what you need as a number 1 player. He needs to be a support player, and he could be a hell of a support player. But him being our best player is going to make it too tough, and I do not see the Wizards coming back, even with a chance to beat the Nets. Do you
The only
think the Wizards will or will not?
I really do think they will. The big piece, like you said, is Johnson. I mean, he was having a career points and rebounds. I think were both at his career highs, and I don't agree with the way he's sitting out. He stated he was sitting out because he was worried about risking injury, not necessarily COVID-related injury, but he was worried about getting hurt into a contract year, which I think that's kind of bogus, especially to your franchise that's fighting for a spot and a winnable spot. And obviously John Wall not playing. I know you're not a crazy John Wall fanatic, but he is on your team. And he could help you guys at least getting some steals and causing those disruptions like that. Getting out in the fast break, obviously with his speed and his
Mhm.
finish ability and all that stuff. Um, but
Well,
yes,
since you called
I
me out
do
a little
believe.
bit, I just want to say that I think John Wall is good. I just
Oh,
hate
absolutely.
Kentucky. All right.
Yes, right.
So
Yeah, I didn't
anybody
mean
from
anything.
Kentucky,
I got
I do not like. But I know he's a wizard and I know he's fantastic, but I just don't like Kentucky. But anyway, go ahead.
you. That's fair. No, that's fair. But like I said, I do think that they can not only catch up but make the playoffs. They have to have a lot of pieces fall their way.
Mhm.
But I think they got to. I'm not going to count anybody out, even if they're the Suns or the Wizards.
I'm, I do not feel as strongly about the Wizards. The Wizards do have a chance because in theory, if they beat the
Okay.
Nets, they only have to gain one on the
Right.
Nets. So it's
Yep.
not like they're completely toast. The Suns are toast. The Suns are just they have no. The Suns are gone. They're not coming back. It's not
They
happening.
have a mathematical chance of making it.
And I don't hate the Suns. So if the Suns do come back,
No, I
more
agree.
power to them.
Yeah, right.
There's no
Yeah.
way. I'd bet the mortgage on it. It's not happening. Okay.
That's mortgage.
All right. It's just not happening. So I do not have the Wizards, which means that I have the Magic and the Nets. If the Wizards do catch the Nets, do the Wizards beat the Nets twice in a row?
Yes. Without
Okay.
thought. I'm not going to add to that. Yes.
No elaboration needed. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Awesome.
Spencer Dinwiddie, who? What?
I am rooting for you to be right there. Okay. I hope
Hey,
he's right.
I'm going
Alright.
2 for 2 next week. Or, a month and a half from now, we'll know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Sounds good. So, go ahead and update us. So, we've already kind of alluded to some people that are not coming back. And we talked about some of them last week. Go ahead and give us an update on who is talking about potentially missing and who has called out.
Okay, so really, the big one was the Nets starting basically a starting five sitting. Some of these guys we knew. DeAndre Jordan recently came out that he has tested positive for COVID. So the thing about this is that a lot of people are saying like, oh, they're worried about this, testing positive for COVID. But you've talked about this, and I know I've started to like listen to people that are talking about this. They catch it now, that might be better for them in the long run. So he might still end up going to Orlando, but as of right now, he's not in Orlando. He has to be quarantined for so long, 2 negative tests, and then he's allowed to fly out if they don't fill his roster spot. So a lot of moving pieces there and different things there. KD with his Achilles, obviously he's still out. Kyrie, he's been dealing with a shoulder, which he had surgery. Also, social justice. Wilson Chandler.
When did Kyrie have
He
surgery?
recently came out and said that. When did he have surgery? I believe
Yeah.
back in March.
Okay, so right after
Yeah,
the
like
shutdowns,
right before
basically.
all the
Okay.
COVID. Yeah, right after, right before. Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't even think he was allowed to get surgery after the shutdowns. Maybe, but I don't know. Wilson Chandler recently came out. He said that because he has young kids and a grandma that just turned 87, so happy birthday to his grandma. He does not want to contract the virus and have a chance of passing that off. And the last one is Nick Claxton, and I couldn't even tell you where he's from or anything like that, but he's worried about catching COVID, so I put his name on there. So yeah.
Wait, he's worried about it or he caught it?
He's worried about it. I don't think
Oh,
he's
okay.
going.
So he didn't catch it yet? Okay.
No.
Because
he's
DeAndre
not-
Jordan actually has caught it.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Did Dinwiddie
He
also?
confirmed it. So Dinwiddie, he
Whitty, sorry?
is like, yeah, Dinwiddie. He's kind of up in the air about the social justice thing, and he's not really sure he wants to risk his health and all that. And I think he kind of sees the writing on the wall. Whereas
I thought two
their
players
shot
caught
at
it on the
actually
Nets. I thought there was 2 players that caught COVID on the
caught it.
Nets.
Not that I've
Okay,
seen.
fair enough.
Maybe.
All right, so it's just DeAndre Jordan as of right now. Okay, that's fine.
I believe so. Yes. Unless there was another player that had like familiar with, but these are the guys that I've been seeing on different social media.
All right. So the Nets are not coming anymore. Got it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So Wizards are in. Wizards are in.
This is what I'm telling you, man. I'm
Wizards
saying,
are
like,
in. It's happening.
Stay the path. I mean, honestly, these Nets, and I don't want to be like over exaggerating, but they could win 2 games. That's it. Like, I could see them just winning 2 games.
No. I'm not talking about them winning any games anymore. I'm saying they're gone. They're not even. The whole team's just not showing up. It's
not
just
showing up.
There's only going to be 8 teams in the East. That's it.
It's like these games are literally just playing games.
Yeah, they're just having fun. Preseason.
Preseason, right? No, right. And then the other guys we kind of talked about is Damian Lillard came out this last week, and he was in an interview, and someone had asked him, you know, with all these players, and you got to think about this. These are guys from 19 years old. I think the oldest person is probably in their like late 30s. We'll say 37. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these and most of these guys are not married, do not have kids. And Damian Lillard was asked, how do you think the players will adapt to rules and the regulations put on them by the NBA as far as staying quarantined and staying away from the general public? And Damian Lillard says, my confidence ain't great. He does not think that these guys will be able to control themselves. Stephen A. Smith, if you haven't heard what he said, he basically alluded to, the players needing to have a female present and to have fun. And that's what I'll say about that. He kind of alluded to the same thing. So I think that the NBA has put in some rules, and some of those have been released about like different things that they're going to put on for the players, such as like ping pong tournaments, poker tournaments.
So what I've heard you just say is that the NBA needs to hire a group of people.
Nope.
And that have a certain job, right?
Nope.
And this needs to be what they do to keep their players quarantined, is what you're saying?
This is not what I'm saying. I'm just reporting what I have heard other people. I do not. These thoughts and feelings do not reflect my thoughts.
Okay, all right. So they're not allowed to do this at the college level, but the NBA level, are they allowed? No, we won't go down there anymore. Okay, that's fine.
We don't have to talk about this. The contract says, I think pay. I think they mean money. I don't think they mean anyway.
Yeah. All right. No, I actually agree with Dame, though. It is going to be extremely tough for these young guys, especially, to stay focused on the goal. Not everybody has the Kobe Bryant mindset of, like, all I care about is winning this chip or whatever. Like, a lot of them play basketball to get paid, and that's why they play. It's not because they necessarily love the game to a crazy degree. It's just they make money. So, you there, KP?
Right. You can't hear me? Oh, what happened?
It's disconnecting a little bit. Let's
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, actually I can hear you right now. Okay, we're good.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Technical difficulties.
Of course. That happens. All right. So but no, I'm totally on the same page with Dame. And it looks like you have one more guy here. What do you got? What do you got here?
So really, I was going to kind of ask you about this, but so Lou Will has discussed not playing. First, I think it was for COVID. Now it's more for the social justice, be a role model for kids and set an example using his presence and stuff. So, what is the impact potentially if he doesn't come back for the Clippers?
I say huge. This is crazy if he does not come back. This is an 18.6 point per game shooter, or scorer coming off the bench. That's not going to be there for you anymore. Uh, this, I really hope that by end of July, that a lot of these social justice individuals view the NBA return as a chance to move their movement forward.
Agreed.
Because that is what it is, right? The NBA, I know I didn't have this on here, but the NBA has apparently approved players wearing social justice terms or names or whoever they want to put instead of their names on there.
Correct. Except they can't do anyone that has died from any of these, like police, involved. Whatever.
Okay,
they
so
can't put Floyd's name on the back. Like they can't do that.
Breonna Taylor, they can't put anybody like that on there.
Right.
Okay.
But if they want to put Black Lives Matter, if they want to put, peace and love, if they want whatever they want to put on there to get their point across, they can put that stuff on. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. But still, this is how you as a NBA player move your movement forward in a sense, like using your platform to do it. Like this would be like Stephen A. Smith gets off the air to like move his movement forward. Like no, you have ESPN, one of the most watched networks in sports. You go on there, and then that's when you talk about what you want to talk about.
Right. Exactly.
And same thing with NBA players is they're most in the spotlight and their biggest time is when they're on the court in the NBA because that's what they do. They're NBA players, that's just how world works, right? Whatever you do, that's where your biggest platform is, right? World's Strongest Man. The World's Strongest Man is going to be at his highest viewing time during the World's Strongest Man competition.
Correct. Yes.
Right, like whatever,
right.
whatever other example that you want to say. So I hope that they, by the end of July, they all get together and start to figure out like this is the best way forward for our situation, and not sitting out and having millions and millions of kids not watch you play basketball.
Right.
Not having that out during these crazy times. Like, you're going to help so many people with like anxiety, mental problems, whatever, like, mental, not like, not literally, but, mental conditions of some
mental
sort.
Health.
Mental health.
Yep.
And watching you play basketball helps them through their life, their crappy situation at home, their crappy situation at school, which they're not going to right now, but their crappy situation in life. Like, having you on the TV helps them cope. Like, get on the court and actually help these people that you want to help. Right? That you care about. So by the end of it, I hope they figure that out.
Yeah, and I like even the NFL and like the NBA. The NFL came out and they said they're going to also do something with the Black Lives Matter movement and let players express themselves and different things. I think that came out today. But the NBA has been so progressive, and especially with Adam Silver. Adam Silver's been doing a great job as leading the NBA forward and moving them into this next generation. And he's gone through quite a bit as a commissioner already. But I think his steps and what he's been doing has empowered the players, and I feel like a lot of them feel that. Some of them probably still feel like they're not as empowered, and that's why we're getting these reactions to where they feel a need to sit out. But I think that the guys that talk in the NBA Players Association, I think they can get a majority of these guys when it finally comes time to actually like be there and be ready to play. I still think that most of these guys will show up.
Yeah, and to your point, is it would be a lot different if the NBA was squashing your movement,
correct,
right? Or the NFL was squashing your movement, right? Now you have to sit out because you're not going to say, okay, I'll go play and help you make your money, but I'm not allowed to express myself, especially with something I feel so strongly about. Like, if that's the situation, that's much different. But to what you're saying is, no, the NBA is on your side. Maybe not all the owners are, but the NBA and your fan base are on your side. Like,
Exactly.
you're playing for a organization that is actually with you and is giving you the opportunity to move, like help move you forward with your movement. So yeah, to your point, yeah, it's you have a organization that wants to help you. You're not on in an organization that wants to shut you down. You're in a situation that wants to help.
Right. Right. So they'll play. I think they'll play. It
Yeah, I
just
hope
gives.
by the end of it, for sure. All right, so now getting off my soapbox, I I posed this question to you the other day, and you disagreed with me, and it was sad for me to hear that KD was not going to try to make a chance to uh, play for the Nets this year, because with KD back, and assuming that most of these players that are whether sick or whatever show up, um, with KD back, they have a legitimate chance of making the finals. Winning the finals is going to be tough, but making it to the finals, they have a shot.
I and here's the real reason why I disagree with you. I never got to, and I'm glad I didn't. Okay.
Okay.
If they're in this situation, okay, the Wizards are out. KD's back. Wizards are out. I don't care who else KD has on his team. Wizards are out. Okay. So they're
Well,
in the
they're
playoffs.
definitely not taking the net spot, at least. I 100% agree with you
Okay.
there.
Okay. Sure.
Yep.
So the Nets are in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Now the thing about it is you have to worry about them being placed on either the number 1 seed side or the number 2 seed side. Doesn't matter which. Okay. Because you're either playing the Bucks or you're playing the Raptors to get to the finals. That's it. I don't think the way that the Nets are set up, even if KD is back, they can beat the Bucks in a 7-game series or beat the Raptors in a 7-game series. I think both teams are more complete. They have more of their roster and crucial guys there. And I don't think the Nets get by either of them.
Okay. Well, I do agree that the Bucks are a fantastic team, and the Raptors are very solid, extremely solid team with Pascal. So, I'm not saying that they'll breeze through like
No,
the Cavaliers did for years with LeBron. I'm not saying that at all, but with him back, they have a legitimate chance because the Raptors last year showed that when you actually decide that you're going to come up with a game plan to shut down Giannis, like if unless Giannis learns to shoot from distance, he's a much easier guy to stop, especially when you come up with a game plan than say Kawhi, LeBron, KD. Like
yeah.
it's much harder to stop those players than it is to stop Giannis. So if you have a good situation and with the KD back, Kyrie back, DeAndre Jordan back, they have a legitimate chance to beat them. I actually do agree with you that it may even be a tougher out to beat the Raptors, in my opinion, because of the situation in Milwaukee, where Milwaukee is much more of a regular season team, in my opinion. They're a fantastic team, but they're much better in the regular season. So, but KD's a game changer. And if he is healthy enough, because he's over a year now removed from his Achilles injury, you don't know what's going to happen. Giannis all of a sudden gets hurt. Pascal all of a sudden gets hurt. And somebody on the other side. LeBron is older. He all of a sudden gets hurt. Whatever. Like, Kawhi has had injury history in the past. So, it's just like what could happen last year where Kawhi and Toronto had no business winning that championship. No business.
Yeah.
But Klay Thompson gets hurt. KD gets hurt. Steph is a little bit banged up. You're all of a sudden playing where one of the best, basically the best player on the court for the Warriors is what his name just
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green. Where that's not a championship team with Draymond as your best player. Point blank, period.
I agree. Yeah, and DeMarcus Cousins came back and got as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was, a hospital ward down there.
Man, this is tough because like how you just named all these injuries that could. I mean, KD could also possibly just get hurt. First game back. And Achilles is not something that you can just even a year with the top-notch trainers and facilities and medical staff that he has. That's a different kind of injury, man. I mean, that's pretty much what broke off Kobe. Like he was in the end of his career anyway, but that was the final nail in the coffin. I mean, that was his last
Achilles
shot.
are tough, especially in the NBA.
Yeah.
You need a live explosion, and the Achilles are tough. But and I am having a somewhat of an assumption if he's 100% like or near 100% healthy. Obviously, if he's only at 60-70%, then this is a whole different conversation. But my sense of when I heard KD saying he's not coming back, it's like he never even considered coming back. Like, it was never even in his thought process of, like, I am going to try to work to come back for this return. It seemed like to me that he was like, I'm writing this year completely off, and I am just training for next year. Which was kind of saddening to me because I think, like, if he tried to push himself to be ready for this, he may have had a shot a year out. And if he did try and he didn't get there, okay, fine, and you didn't get to healthy enough to play, and I'm going to sit out. But it seems like to me he never even tried, which just goes to a bad mindset, in my opinion, that you should try. Like, when Michael Jordan got hurt, I want to play. When Zion Williams got hurt, I want to play. When, like, you could list off a ton of greats. Kobe Bryant gets hurt, I want to play. Like, this mindset of that KD and Kawhi have, I just don't like, where I'm going to sit out as much as possible. I just want to make my money, basically, and there it is.
That's the point I was just about to bring up. Like, you brought this up earlier. Some people want that check. How would you feel about getting I don't even know. Let's just say it's $1 million, nothing for except for rehab. I'm taking it. You know what I mean? Like that. Some people have that mentality. It's sad. I mean, obviously I'm in a different situation than KD is, and he's making a lot more money than me anyway. But like, you see those numbers, and honestly, like, he's got to worry about his next year, because if he gets hurt again, and he has a cycle of getting hurt, he might exponentially lose money in the long run of his career. Not necessarily like now, but in the long run of his career. So he's probably more or less just worried about the future. And I mean, I agree with you. I think he should have tried. Maybe he did try harder to get back. But
maybe he did. Maybe I'm way off on my criticism. Yeah. Maybe I am. I will concede that that's possible.
I will criticize KD all day if you want. I don't care. That dude went to a 73-9 team after losing to them. I don't care what we say about him on this show. Weakest move in NBA history. You heard it here first. No, you didn't, because it's been heard all around the world.
All around the world, yeah. Yep. All right, well, I'm going to make an executive decision because looking at time, we're going to move on to the basketball tournament that is going to be happening in just 2 days' time. It starts July 4th, Independence Day, on Saturday. And we have our brackets filled out for you right here. And we are going to go through each team and each game because we finally have sports that we care about. And we're excited.
Let's go.
So,
finally.
Here it is. Here is the tournament bracket. And me and KP are going to go game by game. And I'm going to be extremely, extremely honest right now. I looked through these teams and I have no clue who's playing. Like, it's so bad. It's like, I'm looking at that. I'm like, I don't remember you in college, like, at all. Like, a lot of these people did not make it to the NBA, but it doesn't matter because it's basketball and it's going to be live and it's going to be real. And we are going to go through this bracket. And let's go ahead and start in the top left here. And we're going to go through each game. So we have House of Pain versus War Tampa. All right. We have an Illini fan. House of Pain is the Illinois alumni team. And who do you have in that bracket?
Yeah, I'm going to go by a landslide War Tampa. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going House of Pain. It's ridiculous. No, don't even ask this question. I got to give him at least one game, and then we'll talk about maybe two. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. But
okay.
I
actually agree. I have House of Pain as well.
Okay. War Tampa is made up of players from like Auburn and past players from the SEC kind of schools. So I think I'm going to go Big Ten school, Big Ten pride over SEC anyway. So House of Pain. All
right. Sounds good. Now we have – there's actually a new team in here that just got in. It's no longer the Jackson underdogs, the Jackson, Tennessee underdogs. It is now the D2 squad, and coming in at the 24th seed versus the Big X.
You want me to answer this?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Big X shouldn't even be in this tournament.
Big X should not be in the tournament.
They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it.
So D2 is going to take the 24/9 upset?
Look, D2 wins by 100. I don't care. Look, there's this guy that I know whose name is Dan Dockich.
Uh-huh.
And he's got his son on this team, Andrew Dockich. Now, when Illinois played Michigan State, Io DeSumo had the ball at the top of the key. Dan Dockich goes, this isn't going to end well. And Io DeSumo, 3-ball, wins the game. Easy money, okay? Dan Dockich, you don't know what you're talking about. Your son doesn't. They're out. See ya.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, I have Big X coming through this. I don't think that the 24th seed has much of a chance. All right, so moving on to the bottom left side of the bracket. Or do you want to continue just through the entire
No,
one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to continue going through each one. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it is now, there has been another change here, and it is now the primetime players versus Team CP3. Screw CP3. He makes millions, and according to the freaking site, he's going to take $100,000 out of this prize money. I don't care where it's going. These people are no names. I literally do not know who these people are. Let them have their money, okay? Don't take $100,000 of this $1 million prize fund. I was so upset when I read that. I said, I don't care who's in that other one. I'm taking the upset here, and I had Mid-America Unity there, but now I have the primetime players. That is an upset.
Okay, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go CP3. I was looking on ESPN today a lot.
Hold on, KB. Hold on. Say that you were looking on ESPN. What?
A lot of these guys have Team CP3 making the finals at least in the semifinals. So I'm gonna go with the experts that might know this team a little bit. I'm gonna go CP3.
All right. So KP's trying to go for the imperfect bracket where he doesn't pick a single game right. All right. That's what he's really trying to do here. All right. That's fine. CP3, no, thank you. Brotherly Love versus Stillwater Stars. Stillwater Stars being the Oklahoma State alumni team. Who do you have here?
I did like Oklahoma State. I wish Blake Griffin and his brother Taylor Griffin were on the team.
Well, they didn't go to Oklahoma State. They went to the University of Oklahoma.
Oh, did they? Oops. Oh, okay. We're going to go with Brotherly Love then, because I don't know anyone.
Fair enough. So you got Brotherly Love?
Yep, I'm going to go 12/21.
Yep, see, he's trying to go for the imperfect bracket here, and I have the Stillwater making the other upset in that bracket, because I know that there is going to be some upsets here, and I have Stillwater here. All right.
It's just as hard to go imperfect as it is to go perfect. I'm just saying.
It's much easier, and that's what your whole life is. You just take the easy route. All right.
Okay.
All right, here we go. On to the top right side of the bracket, we have the Armored Athlete versus Power of the Paw, which is the Clemson alumni team. Who do you got here?
I'm going Power of the Paw with another upset here.
He finally picks a right team.
ACC, baby.
I do love the ACC too. Maryland left the ACC over here, which is sad. But, we're in the Big Ten now. We get to beat up on the Illini in last-second free throws. Last-second free throws. All right, we're not getting into that. Here we go. All right, on to the next game. Jimmy V, the team for Jimmy V, and Heard That, which is the Marshall alumni team. Who do you have here?
I'm going to go Jimmy V just because I have respect for the man. Kind of how I made this pick.
Fair enough. I also have Jimmy V because I know a lot about the Jimmy V team, and I know that they're going to go really far in this tournament, and they're good. Okay, I know a lot about them. All right, not really. All right.
Name any of their players right
Can I have access to Google? No, just kidding. All right.
All right.
I still may not be able to find out that way. All right, here we go. Heart. So now we're moving down to the bottom right side of the bracket. We have Heartfire versus Men of Mackey, which is the Purdue alumni team.
Yeah. I would go Men of Mackey here. Big Ten. I think they had on a roster Isaac Haas. He's a big dude. So I think they'll have height advantage over a lot of teams, and this might be a tournament where height advantage actually matters. So I'm gonna go with them.
All right, I agree. I like the upset here, the 19-4 team, which scares me because I feel like I need to change my pick since I agree with you. All right, so the last one of the first round, or the play-in round, whatever you want to call it, it says the round of 24, is Team Hines versus Sideline Cancer, the 11 versus 22 seed. Who do you got?
I just went with the straight-up numbers here. Team Hines. Just picking, drawing at straws.
Drawing at straws. All right, I do too. I have Hines. Okay, so that means I need to flip my bracket around if I want to have a chance. Okay.
Yeah, this is all.
So back up to the top left, we have the round of 16, the Sweet 16. Since we didn't have it earlier this year, this is going to be our Sweet 16. We have Carmen's Crew, the number 1 overall seed, the Ohio State alumni versus the Illinois alumni. Who do we have here?
Okay, so Carmen's Crew is very, very high potent kind of team. They can get after you defensively. They can score a lot of points. But House of Pain is taking this in regulation, and it's not going to be close.
I feel good. I feel much better about disagreeing with you, and now I have a so Carmen's Crew is definitely taking at least a first round. They are the defending champs. I did know that, and they are not losing to a House of Pain, the 16th seed. We're not seeing a 16-1. We've seen it once because Virginia was really hurt. Okay, Virginia decided to come in half their team, and
feelings were hurt.
UMBC, which I'm from Maryland, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, took the dub. But we're not seeing that here. All right, we have D. So for you, all right, this is where we're going to start getting out of control here.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I had the Big X, you had D2. Now they're both going against the Red Scare, the Dayton alumni team, which Dayton is always solid in the tournament. They always seem to try to find a way into the tournament. So who do we have D2 versus Red Scare for you?
I'm just confirming that D2 is for Division.
Division what? Sorry, you kind of broke up there. Division what?
Division 2 athletes. Division 2 athletes. Yeah.
Oh, is that? I have no clue. I couldn't tell. I didn't do any research.
Almost certain that's who they are. And Dayton, they're good. They have a lot to prove because they're like a smaller D. This D2 squad, if that's who they're made up of, I'm taking them. And the reason I'm taking them is because they're going to have a whole lot to prove against both these teams that they're out to beat. So,
I actually have the Red Scare being upset as well, but by the Big X.
Oh God.
Your docket continues.
Just stop saying their name. Like their name good.
Big X. I have the Red Scare losing as well, which scares me again. But we're here, and so let's just go ahead and finish this side of the bracket out. So you have House of Pain versus D2. Who's making it to the Final Four?
House of Pain.
Yeah.
Can you guess who my winner is yet? I'm just.
Not yet. No, we haven't. I have no clue. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. I have Carmen's Crew.
We didn't talk about this beforehand either. We didn't talk about this at all.
No.
I mean, yeah.
So I have Carmen's Crew taking that side of the bracket. I think that your docket finally gets out of there, and that is what it is. All right. Moving on to the bottom left of the round 16, we have the Golden Eagles versus Team CP3 for you. I had the primetime players. Who do you got?
I'm going to go CP3 again. Golden Eagles, I think.
Hold on. That broke up a little bit. Golden Eagles what?
The Golden Eagles are made up of Marquette alumni.
Uh-huh.
I believe so. And CP3, I think better. I'm going to go CP3.
All right. I have the Golden Eagles here over the primetime players. So Golden Eagles take it to the quarterfinals, the Elite Eight. All right. So Eberline, is that how you would say it? Eberline, Eberline.
Yes. Eberlein.
Sure, that
E-Drive.
one. E-Drive. E-Drive. There
E-Drive.
it is. Versus the brotherly love. Who do we have here?
I'm going to go E-Drive here.
E-Drive.
I think they have more experience on their team.
I have E-Drive as well. All right. Finishing this side of the bracket, we have CP3 versus the E-Drive.
CP3, baby.
CP3. I knew you were wrong. And I have E-Drive making it to my final four. All right. We're going to come back to the final four. All right. Moving back up to the top right of the bracket, we have Overseas Elite and Power of the Paw. Who do we have here?
I'm going to go Overseas Elite. I read a couple articles today, and one of them said Joe Johnson going to kind of like LeBron to Miami, KD to Golden State. It's just not going to be fair, so I'm going to go Overseas Elite.
Yeah, I have them as well. Jimmy V versus the Money Team.
I'm going to go Money Team. I gave Jimmy V the first because of Jimmy V, not because of anybody they're good with, so whatever.
I have Jimmy V making the upset, the 10 over the 7, and Jimmy V making it to the Elite 8.
Okay.
So Money Team for you. And am I wrong? Yeah, Mr. Imperfect Bracket over here. Yeah, I'm worried. Okay, here we go. We got Boheim's Army. No, wait, sorry. We're going to finish this little bracket here. So you have Overseas Elite versus the Money Team. Who do we have going to the Final Four?
Overseas Elite. I mean, they're just too good. They're going to be
I agree.
Good. Yeah.
I agree. All right, got that. We have Boheim's Army versus Men of Mackey.
So I was excited to look at both. No, Men of Mackey. I mean, they're like the players that he got on the Syracuse alumni team aren't the players I thought would be there. Not exciting.
Okay, I have Boheim's Army taking this one. I think that Boheim's Army is going to go to the Elite 8. Hines versus Challenge ALS.
I'm going to go with Team Hines. Still know nothing about any of these three teams in the bottom part.
All right. I have Team LAS because I know a lot about them.
ALS. Okay, go ahead. Yep,
That's what I said. No, I'm just kidding. ALS. I can't even say their name because I know so much about them, all right? I have so much information back here that I can't process everything. All right. So, Men of Mackey versus Team Hines. Who do we have here?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go Men of Mackey. Big 10.
Men of Mackey. I have Team ALS. Challenge ALS is going to be a surprise team in the Final Four. They are a 6th seed, so they have a chance, but I think they will be a surprise seed. So here we go. Our Final Fours are, you have number 16, House of Pain, versus number 13, CP3. Who is
CP3.
making it to the finals? House of Pain is not taking it.
And it hurts. It really does hurt.
Oh my God!
I know.
Wow!
Their miracle run at the chip. It always ends. I know.
A 13 seed in the finals for good old KP. I have.
Better with the 16 seed in there.
I'm just saying, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. No, it would not have been any better with the 16. Just to answer your question directly. All right, we have Carmen's Crew versus E-Drive, and I'm calling an upset here. And we have E-Drive in the finals for the first time. I have no clue if this is their first time in the finals or not. I didn't do that research, but I'm going to say it's the first time they make it to the finals. And moving over to the right side of the bracket, we have Overseas versus Men of Mackey. Do you stick with your Big Ten?
No, I gotta give it to
Jesus.
the solid basketball.
Joe Johnson is nasty. It's crazy that he's on the team.
I can't wait. He's gonna embarrass so many. He's like 38, 39. Like he's still gonna embarrass.
Oh God, it's gonna be so good. I as well have Overseas. Challenge ALS is going to not make it to the finals, but they had a good run making it to the Final Four. You have Team CP3, Team Overseas. Is this where Joe Johnson gets knocked?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
not. CP is too greedy. I agree with you. I think he has the pieces to get there. Does not have the pieces to get over the top. Overseas Elite, congratulations, TB champs.
All right. Well, this has become a little anticlimactic at the end because we agree Joe Johnson is going to take the all. They already also have the previous year's MVP. I don't even remember the dude's name, but he was the MVP of the tournament. And now they have Joe Johnson, and this is going to be crazy. So I agree. Overseas Elite versus or is going to take it, but we have a lot of differences here, and that's good, and that'll be fun to see. We will definitely follow up next week with how our brackets are doing. I believe this is supposed to go to the 14th, so that will be a Tuesday. So we still have a whole. We'll have the follow up on the 9th next week to see how our brackets are doing, and then on the 16th we will go over how it finished and who had the better bracket. Me. He has a 13 seed making it to the finals. No chance. Okay.
No chance.
All right. That was fun. All right. We will finish it up here. KP, as we know, he is a high school basketball coach. So he has an invested interest in watching a lot of the high school players and what's going on. And so he wants to give us an update of different recruits that have committed to teams this past week. So what do we got here today to finish off the show?
Okay, so just a couple of things. 31 of the ESPN top 100 recruits in the class of 2021, which is the upcoming seniors, have already committed. Awesome, because a lot of these kids are unsure about whether or not senior season, but they at least have the presence of mind to commit. They don't have to worry about the recruiting process, worry about answering text, phone calls, whatever, as long as they're keeping in touch with their coaches. That's really cool. A couple of the people that I just wanted to point out, not in the class of 2021, but the class of 2022, Imani Bates just committed. He's the number one in the upcoming junior class. He committed to Michigan State. Huge get for Tom Izzo and the Spartans up at Michigan State. They always do a great job recruiting, and they have a pretty solid resume and of making the tournament and doing well. So big get for them. Big signing for Imani Bates. A couple other kids, AJ Griffin, his brother attended U of I up until this last season where he just transferred out. So AJ Griffin's now going to Duke. He was the number 9 player in the class. Deshaun Ruffin, he's going to Ole Miss. He's the number 20 player in the class. He's a point guard. Really smooth handle. Really.
I don't like Ole Miss and I don't like Duke. Why are they people committing to these places? It's all about Mississippi State, and it's all about anybody but Duke.
I don't understand the Ole Miss commit. The number 2 anywhere. But, whatever. More power to you picking Ole Miss.
Where's he from?
That's a good question. He might be from the South. I actually didn't have that written.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
He might be from a southern state, though. I could see that. Trey Patterson just committed to Nova. Don't know a whole lot about him. I know he's a power forward, and I know Nova loves their bigs. They're really good coaching, getting bigs to the NBA. I think that'll be a nice project for them. He is the number 26 player in the nation. Benny Williams just committed to Syracuse in New York, and he is on my list because he's a 50 player. But Tim, do you want to?
He is from my hometown. We're rooting for Benny. I'm not really happy that he went to Syracuse. He should have went to Maryland. Come on, go to UMD. But it's all right. He's repping Bowie, my hometown. It's not Bowie, Bowie. It's Bowie. All right, and Bowie, Maryland, and that's cool. I'm glad that somebody from Bowie is making it to a really good school in Syracuse. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And if you ever go to Bowie, Maryland, just make sure you have a map because wow. Next up is one for me because we got to finish.
Yeah, go ahead. One for you. What?
This pick was for me because we got to finish them.
High note. Okay, got it.
So we signed a power forward, Luke Good. to Illinois, he was the number 74 player in the nation. He's like I said, a power forward. Hopefully, he can fill a spot that we can need in the future with Georgie leaving and with Kofi obviously leaving, going to the NBA. Georgie will not be in the NBA, but Kofi will be. So that's a hole to fill, and it's a future hole. So I think we can make a player out of him and go from there. But those are the recruits that I picked out.
Perfect. Well, that was a fun show. We had a lot of good stuff. And please thank you for sticking to the end. Like, subscribe, comment below. Remember, the question of the day is who gets the 8th seed in both the Western and Eastern conferences. So who actually makes the playoffs as that 8th seed? Please let us know. We will see you next week. And anything else from UKP?
No, I'm excited for basketball, man. Can't wait for Saturday.
Beautiful. Heck yeah. We're rooting for Overseas Elite, but we're also rooting for everybody that KP picked besides them to lose. Awesome. See you guys later.